I took a ride on the Elizabeth line on a very wet 6th of November to experience something new. Last weekend, the connections between the line's core section and the outer sections were finally open. I didn't do the whole thing, I only went as far as Seven Kings in the east and West Drayton in the west. Just enough to experience the connections and get a bit of extra filming done. The line has been opened in phases due to the immense technical challenges that the Elizabeth line presents. What Sunday's opening represents is either Phase 2 or Phase 10, depending which article you read. I'm also not clear in which phase the Elizabeth line finally gets to fight Thanos. The line officially opened on the 24th of May 2022, but until now it's operated in 3 separate sections. One is Reading to Paddington. Then there's the core section, which serves Paddington, Heathrow, Abbey Wood and Liverpool Street. And finally, there's Liverpool Street to Shenfield. 2 major changes happened on Sunday. The first is the opening of the connections between the core and outer sections. In other words, it is now possible to get a train from Abbey Wood to Reading, or Shenfield to Paddington or Heathrow. I should clarify that through trains are not yet running all the way from Reading to Shenfield, but if you need to change, you can do so at any station from Paddington to Whitechapel. The other change, and the one I'm quite excited about, is that Sunday running has been introduced. I must admit that I personally have found the lack of a Sunday service up to this point to be quite annoying. Now, to be fair, that's on me. Basically, I tend to plan journeys around London more or less on the fly, and I keep mistakenly factoring the Elizabeth line into my plans when it's not running. On one occasion, for instance, I needed to get from Leicester Square to Paddington and went to Tottenham Court Road by mistake when Charing Cross would have been easier, and I'm rambling now. I'm just not used to the concept that a line doesn't run on Sundays. Freaks me out, man. If you're curious as to why it hasn't been running on Sundays until now, it's actually not unconnected to the connections between the lines. There's never been anything quite like this line in Britain up until this point. Some trains terminate at the end of the core section, some travel on, some have to work their way around commuter trains. Getting the whole thing to work together requires a lot of testing and tweaking, so that's what they've been doing of a Sunday. I guess they figured it was better to take a day out per week to make sure they get it right than to roll it out half-baked and make a colossal mess of things. So, completed connections, Sunday running, what more is there to do? Well, obviously complete through running from Shenfield to Reading, that's the big one. And the other thing is increased frequency. The much publicised figure is 24 trains per hour on the core section, or a train every 2.5 minutes. Right now it's about every 5 minutes, which is still pretty good, you have to admit. At present, according to the official website, this is all to be completed no later than May 2023, those are their words. Whether that means they might be able to get things finished earlier than that, I don't know. But I feel that given that the Crossrail project was notorious for delays and going over budget, it's probably wise for them to take a cautious view. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, please do leave a like and subscribe for more. It was a bit of a weird one to do. I mean, the connections are important and all. In fact, I'd say they're pretty key to the Elizabeth line project. But in terms of making a video, it's like, well, remember those previous videos I did? It's exactly the same, but this time they're all joined up. I don't like to get too repetitive, especially since it's only been about 6 months since the original opening, and I don't like to get too repetitive. Especially since it's only been about 6 months since the original opening. Anyway, I'd like as always to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the junction to my separate lines. And I'll see you all again very soon. Cheerio.